Katie Petrik walked away from a successful corporate sales career to fight for kids the system overlooks. On this episode of the PR Bunker podcast, the founder of EEI Advocacy breaks down how she built a nonprofit that helps marginalized families navigate special education, from knowing the warning signs that a child needs support to standing toe-to-toe with school districts. It's a story about turning personal struggle into a movement that's changing lives across multiple states. Thanks to Katie for stopping by, and here's your host, Don Martelli, CEO of the PR Bunker.
Welcome back down to the PR Bunker podcast. Good one today. I meet a lot of people that are doing incredible things, impacting the lives of other people because it really means something to them. And Katie, who's my guest today, has one of those stories. Katie Petrik, pleasure to have you on my Bunker podcast today. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
You and I met and we had a couple conversations, at least one conversation, learned your story. And I immediately said, I need to get this young lady on my podcast to tell the story and the work that you're doing with your nonprofit and why you got here. And so, but before we begin, kind of tell the audience about yourself and the work you're doing now.
Okay. My name is Katie Petrik. I think we covered that already.
Yep.
But I currently run a nonprofit that is focused on marginalized communities and students with disabilities and the intersectionality of all of those factors. For me personally, I have a child with a disability. I have been through the IEP process. I'm a former educator. I understand both sides, and I've seen just how much impact either the lack of resources or extra resources can have. And it seems to have made special education a privilege instead of a right. And I just felt like that was my lane, that I need to equalize that a little bit where I could.
How long has the organization been in place?
We're babies. So we're not new to the business, my business partner, Jess and I, but we are new to the nonprofit. And we're about to celebrate our first birthday in August.
Congratulations. So, big milestone.
Yeah. We've come very far in just a year and can't wait to see what happens in the next few.
Well, let's rewind the clock. I mean, what was the moment that you said, this has got to be done? I have to do something about this.
Well, it's kind of I'm going to try to condense the story for you a little bit.
We got time. It's my space. We do whatever we want here. It's all good.
When my oldest child hit middle school, we went from this happy little bubble of elementary school. He's just a quirky, unique kid that was just so well loved in elementary school. And middle school was just a whole different animal with a whole different level of expectations. And the adjustment was very hard. And a lot of the things that we knew were like different really came to the surface. And I had recently had a divorce, COVID hit. There was a whole lot of factors that just made this like a complicated, difficult experience for my oldest child. And I had the understanding of special education. I knew all I had to do was say, something's going on here. I need some help. We were able to have the economic resources at the time to pay for the testing that we wanted to get. And we just had a really supportive environment, and we had a really successful IEP process, really smooth. But when you are a parent of a child with a disability, the first thing you do is you connect with other parents. And in doing that, I'm watching families who have resources sail through the process, but spend a ton of money. And then I'm watching families who don't have the resources just not be able to get their kids what they need and have very different experiences. And it just became really clear to me that the gap was massive and it wasn't fair. And rather than feel guilty that I was able to get services for my child, I decided to just kind of change careers. I walked away from a corporate sales career and I said, this has to be something that's available for everyone. And I had several good friends who were just burned out from teaching, but were incredibly talented teachers. One of them is my business partner. She taught both my kids, and she was looking for a change and had moved. And we had several other people that wanted to be part of it. And I was like, I think we just need to do this.
Wow.
So
Love
we
that.
dove in and set our sights on removing these barriers that exist the best that we can.
Wow. Was there a particular moment, a conversation, or was it sort of a crescendoing of these things altogether that kind of made the button flip?
Yeah, it was I think I was encouraging Jess to start her own company,
Okay.
and she kept saying, "I have no idea how to run a business. I only know how to do this work."
Mm.
And
That's where
then
you come into play,
and
right?
then I thought, "Well, I've run a business for a long time, and it did really well." I left it, because I needed to take a more corporate job
Yeah,
once
sure.
I had a divorce,
Hmm.
but I knew how to do that, and I understand education, but I was a little nervous about making the change, so I think I was encouraging her and a couple of the others we were talking to start their own company, and every one of them was like, I have no idea what I'm doing." "But you do, but you do."
They kept pointing at you, like you're going to be the gal that makes this happen. Wow.
Yep. I think I just woke up and I have a weird thing about me that even when it seems crazy, if it's just right, I I don't know what it is, but I just put my nose to the ground and
Mm.
go.
You trust your gut. Trust
Yeah,
your gut. Got it.
yeah, big
So
time.
let's get into the weeds a little bit. So, as you know, if I'm a parent and I'm struggling with this dynamic with my children, I mean, what are the resources available to me, and how does your organization step into that as you know, complicated, messy, sometimes emotional, if not all the time, emotional space? What so kind of walk me through the work.
So, really, what is there's plenty of advocates around. They're everywhere. They do charge a lot of money. They're worth a lot of money, but the mentality of advocacy work right now is to get the parents whatever they want for their kids, whatever that takes to do, however many meetings, however all this stuff. And, that tends to drive a wedge between the school care teams and the families. An advocate's going to get them what they want, and then they're going to walk away. And we're looking at this completely differently. We understand the school side of things, and we understand that a lot of teachers want to do the right thing for the kid. They want the kids to succeed. Now, there's plenty of them out there who are not. They're dropping balls, you know? And so we're not on the side of like the schools are doing everything right, but we're also not. We coach our families about their rights, and we have a ton of prep work that goes into
Mm.
it,
Hmm.
really educating them about what is required of the schools, helping them understand and embrace the disability because a lot of times disability is a bad word,
Yeah, sure.
families. And we want them to get comfortable with it, including the kids in the process, making them part of their team. So we do a ton of prep work because we go into this collaboratively. So we walk through everything. The families contact us. They're usually really upset when they contact us. They may have a terrible relationship with the schools. We, once we sign them on, we look through all their records, dig really deep. We spot patterns. We use the data and we come back with a roadmap for the families. And we say, this looks like this is what's happening. This is what they're doing. This looks like it's working. This looks like it's not working. Did you know that you can ask for this, this, and this? Or, I understand you're asking for this, but what's really required of the schools is, only here. You can't ask for this because they're not required to give it to you. So let's go in and let's hold them to the requirements. And so we do a ton of work before we even get into the meeting so that the parents understand everything. They understand what they can ask for. We coach them on how to communicate so that they can be heard
Mm.
because a lot
Hmm.
of times the emotions are so high that the schools are on the defense, the parents are angry, and it
A
doesn't.
tough environment to walk into, right?
Yes, very much
Got
so.
it.
So some parents who can't even, they're too emotional to talk. We make sure that we have spent the time that we need to spend getting the message that they want heard and out in a way that the schools will understand it. So it's really everything's individualized to the kid. Everything starts at the root, which we really believe is the understanding the disability, embracing the disability, recognizing, which behaviors are part of the disability, things like that, and the requirements of the school. And then we build from there. So
Got it. Okay. No, it's clearly, once you connect with parents, that connection, the emotional, string between your group and them is probably strong because you've gone through it. You've got educators in your your camp on your side, so you come from their world. What's it like from the other end? So from the school side, I mean, what's that engagement look like? Because clearly you're trying to approach these situations in a way that you're not pointing fingers at anybody. You're trying to bridge the gap and bring people together. So what's that partnership with the school systems look like as you're getting involved with parents in this whole dynamic?
Well, that's so multi-level. It's probably my most exciting part
Mm,
of
I'm
this
sure.
because what we want to make sure the schools know, and they are beginning to recognize because we are in a bunch of different schools, but
Yeah, you're supportive.
we're becoming
Yeah.
familiar with
Hmm.
them, and they know that we're former educators. So that means they know we know what the teachers are going to say, what they're gonna do, and we kind of come in just without a lot of the other mess on the table. We just don't have to go down those roads, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, because you've spent the time in the classroom. You understand the language, the terminology, the acronyms, the pain points, the questions you typically get. You have real experience,
Mhm.
and you're bringing that to the table for on behalf of the families.
And we do and they do recognize because a lot of times school teams, when they hear I'm bringing an advocate, everybody's on edge. Everybody's like,
Got it.
"Ugh."
Got it. So there's a
And
connotation. There's a connotation to the language there.
absolutely. So,
Okay.
schools aren't until they get to know us, they aren't
Got it.
super, like, gung ho about
Got it.
advocacy groups coming in, but we approach it in that, you know, if you're dropping the ball, we are gonna hold you to it. We're gonna point out, what's working, what's not working, and ask for adjustments. But we are not gonna rip you apart and make demands that are unrealistic. We're gonna use data, not opinions. We're gonna stick to the issues, not the topics, not all the little stories that happen within the issues. We're focused on the issues so we can keep moving forward.
Got it.
So, and we also are really starting to we wanna work with the school systems as a whole. And one of the biggest ways we wanna do that is we collaborate with experts in the field, currently working with, Jen Glaisel, who is a psychotherapist here in Seven Corners. She was referred to us by 3 or 4 different people when we first started, but she has this great program that she does where she talks about universal design of learning, where if you have so many different types of learners, everybody's neurosystem experiences the environment differently. So why not create a safe classroom for all learners? Because it's like a curb cut, right? You're not going to hurt people who don't need the curb cut to get up on the curb by putting one there. So we coach the school systems on how to recognize behaviors that are results of a dysregulated nervous system versus just a discipline issue, creating the spaces where that is less of a factor and you've got everybody kind of flowing together a little bit better. So
Mm,
we're working on coming in at the root and helping develop these supportive environments for all types of learners because that's a big factor in today's school
sure.
environment.
Huge, 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 huge. I mean, it's the information coming in and out of the schools, even just from a parental standpoint, when your kids are quote unquote normal, is abundant. And the
Mhm.
dynamic of that entire thing is still messy with kids. And I hate to use the word normal because all kids are normal. We all get some quirks in our own world, right? Kids just learn differently and they have a different pathway to success versus other kids. I mean, you're doing this locally, right? So it's kind of all a regional kind of effort, or you're doing it on a national level?
Clients in Iowa and Tennessee
Wow.
and Maryland and Virginia.
Awesome.
Those are our we picked up early
That's great.
clients in Tennessee and Iowa, and we keep getting referrals from out there.
Well, I mean, I'm sure any parent that's going to put their 5-star rating on your work is going to hold a lot of water versus, some marketing campaign, that word of mouth, especially when it comes to your kids, you will do anything for them.
Mhm.
Right. And and every parent thinks their kid is, going to go pro in the NBA, going to be the smartest kid at MIT, and all of our kids can do no wrong. But if you have parents that speak positively about something that you help them with, that is gold. And I think that's great that you're scaling it because you're right. This is a national pandemic in some way, shape, or form. There are just, I mean, it's not the school's fault because they're sometimes under resourced, underfunded, because just the way of the economy and how things cost these days, and running communities is pretty expensive. And teachers are making much less than they should be making, and that's also a factor. So, and just with the way, yeah, who knows maybe it's in the, I don't know, the food that people are eating these days. But as kids are growing older and these challenges are becoming more and more mainstream, I just, even when I was a kid, there are more young people that are facing these challenges that I've ever heard of, and it's growing in knowledge and volume, and so it's great to see folks like you at the epicenter, which is hard work, but what keeps you at it every single day? It's like shoveling shit against the tide because you're in the boxing ring fighting this thing every single day. Now it's a national thing. Why do you get up every morning to put the gloves on?
And I think that all comes down to this gut feeling I have because I remember as a person working retail, I could get 5-star reviews. I'd get, plenty of those were regular. I felt I had good connection with my clients and things like that. If I got a single 1-star review, there's people out there that write 1-star reviews that feel like they come out of nowhere or a situation was fully misunderstood or something, and I would just fixate on that. And the same thing happens still. But we don't have like when you come at something where these parents are at their wits' end and they don't have anywhere else to turn. And this is their baby, we're going to help them in some way. And so it can be just by like one family, there was a language issue. She did not use an interpreter, but she said she didn't need an interpreter, but she really was misunderstanding one of the accommodations. And she was really upset about what was happening, but it was because she didn't understand. We brought in a qualified interpreter, just cleared it up for her, didn't charge her a dime, helped her understand it, and it changed
Oh, I'm
everything.
sure,
So it was this
man.
most
Wow,
simple thing onto somebody who's been fighting for years and years and years and years and years. And we went to work with that family in the last month and a half, 2 months, and have made way more progress for them than they've had before. And what
that's
that was,
incredible.
just helping her remove the emotion, break things down using data, having the kid be part of the team in an effective way. And it made huge impact. So we haven't had anybody that we can't help in some way. And so even when it's hard and you hear the worst of the worst stories, because we do get really unfortunate stories, we still can make a step forward. So every day I get to wake up and like find new ways to help.
Love that. Love it. It fuels the passion, fuels the mission. That's fantastic. So what's since you're coming up on your 1 year anniversary,
Mhm.
you know, are you where you thought you'd be a year from today? Like, oh my God, I have this idea, I have to do this, and everybody keeps pointing at you as the gal that's going to make this thing happen. Fast forward a year, can you believe how far you come? And then what's next?
So that's such a fun question to answer. I think it's yes and no. Um,
Excellent, great answer.
I really get a kick out of going back through my Google Drive documents and seeing all the business plans and everything and just laughing at how naive I was a year ago, and how simplified I had made this actual plan. And so, now, we definitely feel like we're swimming upstream because there's a lot of roadblocks being put in our way. It's not news to anybody that special education is not
Oh
being
yeah.
helped
Yep.
nationally right now.
Mm-mm.
So I didn't see that coming.
Nobody did.
No, but I did not expect to be able to be in some of the working systems that I'm in, like the connections that we've made and the way that we have really just kind of changed our platform enough to just really be able to meet more of the need that's there in a
Hmm.
bigger, more impactful
Hmm.
way. And it's not just about advocacy one-on-one with the families. It's about building the trust with these marginalized communities. It's about making these connections and finding ways to create like self-sustaining environments for them, helping make, everybody has the same needs. Some are just met more naturally than others. So when you can get that message out across the board, you just make things better for everyone in general.
I feel that.
So it feels like in some ways I'm nowhere near where I thought I would be because we thought we'd just be doing advocacy work after advocacy work after advocacy work. And we've done so much more than I planned. So it's good and scary.
And God knows where you'll be in a year, right? I mean, that's the journey. That's the journey. Now, let's pivot real quick to the parents. What are the signs and things you as a parent guardian should be looking for, that might be happening, that could have a compounding effect over, like you said, grammar school, middle school, like that moment in time for you, you're like, oh man, that light bulb came on. You're like, this is a whole different ball game. What are the things that parents should be thinking about, seeing, identifying, and what would be the steps if there's something not clicking in their brain that causing them to think about, I might need some assistance? What are those triggers, and what are the steps for parents to get involved?
So kids, I think the simplest way I can put that is that there is no one way that a disability can be presenting, and that in itself is the key. And you can take that all the way back historically. For myself, I'm not in any way neurotypical. That's not, I don't love that word anymore. But I looked on paper, looked lazy, underachieving. I'm a Gen Xer, so that's kind of the mentality back then. If you realize like maybe your child is super smart and you know that, but they just can't keep up with their work. If they're coming home from school and their behavior just melts down, if you can't figure out why they seem so overwhelmed, are they behind and struggling to keep up with assignments? Are they, if anything seems off, all you have to do is say something. All you have to do is say, I'd like an evaluation. You say, I like an evaluation, the school does the evaluation. That's the law. But really what it comes down to is just recognizing behaviors, asking questions. We try to offer every avenue possible for families to just reach out to us and say, hey, I don't know what's going on here. What do you think? Anxiety is such a big deal in kids these days. It's just, I think it existed for sure back when we were kids, but
Yeah,
now it's just kind of a way of life,
it's a
you know?
spotlight on it. It's a spotlight, absolutely.
And so, if you have behaviors start to develop that are not, typical for your child, or even so, if behaviors are something that are keeping them from accessing their education, there's always more to that. And it's always worth looking more into. And the
Got it.
idea is for free, appropriate public education to be something that is available to every single child that is going to school in this country. That's what IDEA says. And if they're not able to do that and they can figure out why, there are things available to help them do that. So
Love it. Love it. Love it. What's next? No, what's year 2 look like? Year 3, year 5, year 10? Where are we going with this thing? Clearly, this is not something that just magically goes away, nor will it ever. It'll probably grow in complexity, and I don't even know what that looks like or sounds like or whatever. That's what you get paid for.
yeah.
But what's next for your organization in the next year? What are you hoping to tackle?
Well, there are so many kids that need us and need our services, and we work on a sliding scale so that it can be up to all the way down to pay what you can. So what's next for us is for my business partner, Jess, and I not to do the jobs, full-time jobs of 5 people each. We have people who are really talented advocates. They really understand, they wanna be part of our team. So we wanna grow. We want more advocates on our team. We want transition experts on our team because in special education, there are transitions from, early childhood into preschool and elementary school, elementary to middle, on into adulthood. And those are big changes and we need someone who specializes in that. We want a whole early childhood division to where we can go meet these parents right when that child is born, and we can coach these families on how to be their child's first teacher. And the amount of impact a parent that understands that on a different level can have is amazing. And we can go and provide those services in the communities. We can coach members of those communities to do that for each other. There's just a ton out there that we want to do,
Love it.
but it takes the dollar bills.
Yeah. Well, that leads right to the next question.
Mhm.
So how have you been, doing all this? Because you don't have the money tree in the backyard. And if you did, I'd like a couple seeds because I'll plant one of those in my
Well,
backyard.
I actually have a money tree.
Nice. Nice.
And I feel like that's symbolic.
Yep.
And I'm going to be super direct.
Sure. Do it.
We do this because we love doing it. I am a single parent. I set myself up in April of last year. So it was a year ago in April. I set aside money to get me through a full year without an income, because you can't start a business and expect to turn an income over right away. We didn't even launch for clients until August. So we started taking clients in, and our calendar stays very full. And there's already tons of advocates out there, for the families that have the resources to pay for them. So we are going to compete for those families. What doesn't exist is people who do it for the families who don't have the resources. So we don't have any competition for that. And they are coming to us, they are being referred to us, and we are just full of them. If we don't have the subsidy pot, that's okay. We just work for free.
Got it.
And so now we're starting to get noticed by the people who have the resources, and they can pay our fees. But we keep our fees really, really low on purpose. So we do get a lot of donations, a lot of small donations, medium-sized donations from the public. We do like merch sales and sticker sales and host events. We always have stuff up and running. But, we can't pay our bills with a hug or a thank you note. So we
Nope, I hear you.
I guess maybe if you're looking to see what the first growth plan is, we just brought on some students with George Mason to help write some grants. And, because we can't do all the client work and stop and write grants and plan fundraisers and do all this stuff.
You got
So
that right.
the clients get our full attention, and then you just stick with it.
Love that. Love the tenacity. So if people want to donate millions of dollars, they want to be involved with their time, their talent, and treasure, how can they find you? Where can they find you?
So our website is eiadvocacy.com. We're on socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Threads, Substack. We try to post significantly. We are having some help come in with that too, because we are
Excellent.
47-year-old women. So
Love it.
we're not that great at Instagram, but we always have our donation links up there that people can do. They can contact me directly, and I would imagine you put that up with if you
Oh,
could
yeah.
link, because we will we're a registered 501c3. Every donation is tax deductible. Every single dollar goes to our overhead or to our subsidy pocket. We are 1,000% not into this for the money. So we struggle when we go to pay ourselves anything at all. It's a small percentage of what actually comes in because we want to keep growing and building.
I love that. Appreciate it. It's the hard work that goes unnoticed, but that's kind of why the PR Bunker podcast exists, to shine a light on those stories that got to be told. So congratulations on year one. Looking
Thank
forward to see how you kill it in year two, and you continue to impact those families' lives, because the work you're doing is literally a lifetime of impact. So it's incredible work, and I'm sure it's uber fulfilling for you and your partners to do this. And congratulations. So give me that website address one more time so people can dump money your way.
It's eiadvocacy.com. And if you go to it, there's a big red button up top that says donate
Love it. Gimme,
on
gimme, gimme.
the main page. Yeah. So you can actually, I lied. The button's not red. That's the red button is the intake for a grant. But it does
Got it.
say donate right there at the top.
There you go. There you go. You won't be able to not find it if you go to the website address.
And
Excellent.
anyone can reach out to me too, because if they donate through the Zephy link, Zephy doesn't take a percentage of the donations. So it all comes
Oh, that's
down.
great. Good.
But we also, for larger donations, if they want to, we could do checks and all that good stuff.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think I have a credit card that has $1 million on credit on it, but I'll let you know if I do.
Only take ACH too. We could just do it.
There you go. See? Have all the answers. Love that. You're a salesperson. You know how to sell this thing.
You know what? I want to kind of put that as the icing on the cake. I was a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that is in what I'm here to do. I questioned myself every day walking in for 5 years. I didn't understand why I was good at selling luxury goods. And I made good money doing it. I was successful at it. I had people that would wait for me to help them when I was with other people. And that made me feel great. But every day I was like, if I had $50,000 to impulse buy, I would not buy this thing that I'm selling. I want to make an impact with it. And I couldn't understand why I was in that space until I started this. And now I'm like, now I do have a superpower, a sales superpower, but it's for good. I can
Mm-hmm.
really communicate what we're doing and why we're doing it. And if that encourages people to want to send money our way and keep it going, then now I feel like I can use that power for good.
Love that. Well, I mean, everybody's selling something to somebody. And nonprofits typically run as a very sleepy, mission-driven, heartfelt, Kleenex, emotion, tears, the whole thing. But you need that business sense, right? You have to be strong advocates, pun intended. You have to run the business in a way that is going to continue to allow you to operate it. And so I think that your, kind of B2C sales, the almighty dollar background is going to benefit the nonprofit in the long run because you're going to run it like a business. And your clients are people that desperately need the support. And what you're selling is advocacy, communications, accessibility, and an opportunity that this is not, you might be going on a different journey than the other kids in the class, but you've got wind behind your back and wind in your sail, and that's what you do. And so it's sales, but sales in a good way. So I love that. That's a good skill to have.
Available for everybody. And that's going to pay off for the whole world in the future. You give everybody equal opportunity to success, you remove those barriers, no one's going to get hurt by that.
That's full circle right there. Nice big feel good boomerang right there. I love that. One more time, where can people find you? What's the website address one more time?
EEIadvocacy.com.
Excellent.
You can find us on Facebook. We're Evolve Empowerment Initiative.
Excellent.
We try to be in as many places as we can.
Smart. Yep, working smart, as we'd say here in Beantown. Good stuff. Well, Katie, it's been a pleasure to have you on the PR Bunker. Congratulations on year 1. Go kill it in year 2, 10, 20, 30, and 50 so you can retire and own multiple businesses or nonprofits in this space.
Go until I die. You should come to the birthday party, August 15th at Bunnyman in Lorton. We're going to have a big birthday party event in August.
There you go. Love that. Celebration, right? We're going to celebrate the win, going to celebrate the good work. But I think that, folks like you are, you wake up one day, you pat yourself in the back one day, but then you right back to the work the next, which is awesome.
Every day.
Excellent. Well, thank you for stopping by the PR Bunker podcast. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to telling this story more even further as you continue down this path, but keep advocating, keep fighting, keep selling, but in a good way.
And thanks.
You're welcome.
Good talking to you, Don. Thank you.
You too. Be well.
That's the PR Bunker podcast, hosted by Don Martelli. Here's the thesis. Reputation is the operating system for your business. It's the one asset that works while you sleep. When you need to defend it, repair it, or build it, start at prbunker.com. And for a sharper way to build the relationships that actually get you to yes, subscribe to the Anti-Networking Playbook on Substack. New every week. When reputation decides the outcome, be ready. We'll see you next time, and remember, stay locked in.